first day of class, because for some reason my parents don't decide to tell me what classes I'm in until the day of. So I'm just laying in bed, and my mom walks in. She goes, "Hayden, you're in debate, science, and one other one. I don't recall what it was." And she goes, "You're also in TED Talks." I'm like, "What? Who's Ted? And why do I have to listen to him talk?" That was exactly what I said. It sounds stupid thinking back on it, but at the time I didn't know what TED Talks is. So naturally, once I learned what TED Talks is by going to class, I was fine, because those of you that know me know that I don't really mind people having to listen to me talk. So it's not really a problem. But the problem did arise when I was just trying to come up with something to say, some topic. I went through like 6 topics before I decided on this one. So change. I actually decided on change when I came across a quote by William Pollard. William Pollard said, he said, "Without change, there's no innovation, creativity, or incentive for improvement. Those who initiate change will have a better opportunity to manage the change that is inevitable." I found this so interesting, and at the same time, I had never really thought of change as inevitable. And so my favorite example that I'd come up with for how change, an example of how change is so inevitable, is artificial intelligence. Also, that was one of my previous topics, and I'd already written like 3 pages on it, so that stuff was not going to go to waste. So artificial intelligence, there's so many different kinds of artificial intelligence. It's everywhere, though. It's in everything from Netflix's movie recommendations. It's social media. It's all over the place, but it's much broader than that. In fact, I made a whole list of it. I don't have it up with me, but it would take me all day to go through everything that AI has to do with. So my point is that AI is it's all over the place. The people use it in phones, but it's not just that. There are so many different examples of artificial intelligence. So literally the whole world is connected, and that can be a problem sometimes, but the majority of the time it's helpful. But that's not my point. The point is that artificial intelligence is everywhere, always. It's a kind of change that is just unstoppable. And so all of this to say that change is certain. But at the same time, that brings me to my next point, which is that change is not always a good thing. Change is not always a raise or a new car. Sometimes change takes the form of a natural disaster or a mass shooting. Charles Swindoll said, "Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it." I immediately thought of this as I was going through how change works and all of that. So your reaction to change, that's a big part. A huge part of your reaction, because change happens all the time, and like I just stated, it's everywhere. And so as you're dealing with change, something that you should realize is that your reaction plays a huge role in what happens to you. I don't mean like karma, but it is a very important part of what happens to you. I'm sorry, that went a little too fast. Before deciding on how you're supposed to react, you should first change your perspective, which I thought of as a huge deal. So yeah, the art of living does not consist in preserving and clinging to a particular mode of happiness, but in allowing happiness to change its form without being disappointed by the change. Happiness, like a child, must be allowed to grow up. I found this, this is by Charles L. Morgan, and I found this very important, because what you might consider happiness at one point, that really, your view on what happiness is really changes as things happen. And so my point is that if you change your perspective on particular things, then that could become something that kind of makes you happy rather than a problem.